The time is finally here. Welcome to today's vlog. Got some reading updates for you guys, and part of that reading was finally done sitting in a park. You'll see that from the clip in the beginning there. The weather was lovely. A little smidge too warm on my way back, but just to even say that has been amazing. Went on my walk, went to the library, and it was a not new library, but a library that I hadn't been to before, like as we're sort of like just exploring sort of like different libraries. And sort of like I'll go on sort of my walk around sort of that neighborhood. So for today's library, we went to Sanderson, and I used to live around that area when I was little, so like I used to go to that library, but because I'm not around there anymore, I haven't been there in years. And the weather, it's like, I think it's like 26. It's good, y'all. It's just beautiful, just beautiful. And where you get home and you're actually warm, and then you go and you take a nice cool shower, and it just feels blissful. And I actually got to sit in a little park and read, and it was so nice. But yeah, so let me show you sort of what I got at the library. Picked up some DVDs, dropped off some stuff. Firstly, we got some telenovelas. One is a Spanish telenovela called Refugio para el Amor. Refugio para el Amor, which translates to a refuge for love. So that's there, and it's 4 discs, and it's probably like one of those, like, again, condensed telenovela DVDs, as they do. So looking forward to that, because I haven't really gotten into a telenovela that grabbed me for a while now, and I'd like to sort of get back into that. I found a Brazilian telenovela called A Casa das Sete Mulheres, which translates to the House of Seven Women kind of thing. I don't know if it's like a adaptation of Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, but that's this. And it has one of my favorite Brazilian actresses, Maria. What is her name? Like, I know her name, but it's not giving me her name on the thing. It's Mariana. Her. I've seen her sort of in a lot, and I know her first name is Mariana. I don't remember her last name, but it's X something. Jimenez. She's a very popular Brazilian actress. She's done like dozens and dozens of telenovelas, and so looking forward to that one. This one has 5 discs, and yeah, so definitely looking forward to that. I got a classic black and white with Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert, It Happened One Night, which the plot of kind of reads to me like Roman Holiday with Audrey Hepburn and Gregory Peck. It's sort of the same sort of thing. Like she's a socialite instead of a princess, but she's a socialite who's run away, and Clark Gable is the reporter who wants to sort of scoop the story of her running away. And my guess is they're going to fall in love. So it's very sort of similar to Roman Holiday. So I can't wait to see how similar. And I got a World War II love story called I'll Find You. And some of the names in this are pretty impressive. We have Stellan Skarsgård, Connie Nielsen, Stephen Dorff, who I remember watching many movies of his sort of over the years. Yeah, very much looking forward to that one. And that's the back. It kind of looks like Stephen Dorff is playing a Nazi, but okay. So very much looking forward to that. So in terms of reading updates, I finished Anne of Ingleside by Lucy Maud Montgomery, and I absolutely adored it. Loved it in a way that I haven't, while I've loved the recent ones that I've read of Anne's saga, from Windy Poplars on, it sort of didn't have that same magic. They were a bit sort of formulaic, you know, Anne befriends somebody who's sad or mean or whatever and like changes their life. This one sort of went more back to the first three books and sort of like gave me that magic again. It was more about Anne and like her home life and her marriage to Gilbert and their children and the different sort of experiences with the children. You get some of the kids' point of views meeting, you know, and they're like navigating like new friendships and like learning sort of how to deal with kids who aren't that nice. And I really, really love this. And the bit here where it talks about how she's worried that Gilbert maybe perhaps doesn't love her as much after like 15 years of marriage or what have you. It's a very small part of this book. Like, I would say like the last maybe 2-3 chapters. It's a very small part, but I really liked sort of how they handled it and what was actually sort of going on. And of course, my Gilbert would never, and he doesn't, because he will always love his Annie girl. But yeah, I absolutely loved this book, and it gave me like all the good Lucy Montgomery feels. So a few misses in the series, but with this one, we're back. We're back to the feeling that I love about these books. Sadly, after that, we had a few DNFs. One of them was Nicole Jordan's To Bed a Beauty. And she wants to Rosalind wants to get married to this guy, but she wants to sort of make sure that he doesn't cheat on her with like a mistress. So she wants to, of course, make sure that she is equipped with all these sensual delights and weapons that she could have to make sure that her husband doesn't stray. So she is going to, she's going to find herself someone to tutor her in the arts of sensuality. And there's this guy, Drew, who I think she would eventually was going to sort of ask him, or maybe she was going to ask somebody else, but she ends up with him. And the reason that I DNF'd it was because before she's even made up her mind that she's going to want him to be the one to tutor her, I think they're at this party, and does she leave with him, or I don't remember, but they somehow end up outside, and he sort of takes this, yeah, I think she is avoiding him, and she goes outside, and he thinks it's because she wants him to chase her, but it's not. She's actually avoiding him. But he doesn't believe her, and basically starts accosting her, and like kissing her, and like touching her, and like doing like all this like dubious consensual shit. And then when she sort of gets drawn into what he's doing and starts to like it a little bit, but then she like still like pushes him away. And then they meet at this other they meet up again at this house, and he finds out that she's actually I think a sister of like one of his friends, and he basically accuses her of being a whore because she let him take liberties with her, and no good woman or good lady would. And I was like, F you, Drew Moncrief, the Duke of Arden. You can just go F off into the sun. So, no. His double standard sanctimonious shit put me off the book, and I hope he gets eaten by a lion. So that one didn't work for me. The next one was sort of the same, but not quite. It was also a DNF for almost the same reason, but not quite. It was Kara Mortimer's Wife by Contract, Mistress by Demand. And it's basically step-siblings. He accuses her mother of just wanting to marry his father to get his money. So, of course, because of that, all women are dirty whores. And she, poor thing, has had a crush on him and been basically in love with him for years, and thinks that she's going, in her naivete, kind of not, she doesn't sort of set out to seduce him, but she really wants him to notice her and sort of like think of her in a certain type of way, and hopefully fall in love with her. And he sort of takes this as her trying to seduce him, and like even though like he's been fighting his feelings for her, but he gives in because apparently he can't help himself. And they have a little moment. They make out a bit. And then he's like all cold to her because he believes that she's just trying to seduce him the same way that her mother kind of seduced the father. And so he thinks that she's just trying to use him too. And I just treats her like shit, because clearly, because she gave in to his touch, she must be a dirty whore like her mother. And I was just, no. Nope. See, I could understand him being like wary of women and like suspicious of them or whatever, because that's a lot of Harlequin Presents heroes. That's just true. That's a lot of Harlequin Presents heroes. But they have this moment, and it was just the way that he treated her after that completely put me off him. Completely. Just no. So sadly, this one was a DNF as well. Another DNF was By Private Invitation by Stephanie Julian. And this one was, does he own he owns some kind of like I think, does he own like a sexy club? Some kind of a sexy club. And she decides that she's going to go, and yeah, I think she, either her friend convinces her to go, or she decides that she's going to go. She ends up at this party, and the friend is like trying to convince her to sort of come out of her shell, but she, what's her name? Annabelle, has such a like low opinion of herself that it annoyed me. She's this like successful woman, and like it bothered me so much, just the way that like it was that kind of like that it feels fake to me when some heroines talk about themselves like, oh, a hot guy like that would never be interested in me. And then the friend is like, oh my God, what are you talking about? You're gorgeous. Look at your this and your that and your curves and your... And there's a part in here where she talks about the fact that she has curves, which probably just means she has boobs and an ass, as opposed to actual curves, you know, like thighs and a belly and, you know, arms, you know, like real actual curves. Like, it's like book romance novel curves are like big boobs and an ass. That's what they think curves are, which annoys me. I have yet to read a heroine with an actual curvy body. But the friend is like, oh, what are you talking about? You're gorgeous. And like talking about like all these like beautiful attributes that the friend has, which basically makes her sound like a model. But, oh no, I'm not pretty. Like, guys wouldn't ever go for me. But there's sort of a hint here of like, thank goodness for rappers who like curvy girls. Then otherwise, like, I would never get any guy to look at me if it wasn't for like rappers making curvy girls popular. Something just really put me off about that perspective. And I hated the way that she talked about herself, and it just felt like false humbling, false modesty, false, like, you know what I mean? When a girl who is clearly beautiful, thinks that she's not, only so that we get everyone around her sort of pumping her up and telling the reader that, like, no, she actually is hot. And it isn't until this Jared guy is going to pay attention to her and want her that she's going to start to see herself as hot. Like, it's going to take a man validating her hotness for her to believe that she's hot. And I was like, no. No, thank you. No. So, DNF that one. But currently, we are on some good ones. We are on some good ones. I don't have an audiobook right now, just because I'm still sort of on the high of Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter, and I sort of I'm not ready to sort of get invested in another audiobook. I feel like if I went into another audiobook right now, I wouldn't be able to sort of fairly give it a shot, because I'm still on that high. So, like, I'm not ready to go into another audiobook after the awesomeness that was Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter. But what I am reading right now, this is my workbook, is Kathleen E Woodwiss's Shanna. And y'all, I am loving this book so much. It is clearly a historical romance, and is Shanna has to get married by the end of the year, or her father will pick a husband for her. So she decides that she's going to marry somebody who is marked to be executed. That way, she can be married and not actually have to deal with a husband because he gonna die. So, Rourke Beecham is, I believe, been falsely accused of murder and is sentenced to hang. So Shanna goes to him with a proposition, kind of marry me, and I don't know what was in it for him, though. Maybe just some time to be, like, out of prison. And there's it's kind of, for him at least, of course, there's an immediate attraction because Shanna is beautiful. For her, it takes him getting a bath and a shave, because when she first meets him, he's been in prison for a while and looks pretty rough. But then when he cleans up good, y'all. He cleans up good. And her plan, because he's like, it was, what was in it for him was he would get out of the prison and get to sort of experience a little bit of freedom and be with a woman before he dies. Put a pin in that be with a woman. Because her plan is to marry him and sneak him back to the prison before he actually gets to do anything, so that she doesn't have to give up her virginity to this criminal. But once he cleans up good and she gets a look at him, Shanna starts to feel a disturbance in the force. The attraction between the two of them is hella strong. So after the wedding, and Rourke is all looking forward to the wedding night, and Shanna starts to maybe think it wouldn't be such a bad thing, even though, England times, modesty, purity, oh no, I mustn't. But they're in the carriage, and Rourke thinks that they're going to an inn when the plan is actually that the guards are going to come upon the carriage and drag him back to the prison, leaving her not having to sleep with this dude. But once they're in the carriage, things sort of start happening, and she kind of doesn't mind it so much, and they actually do kind of have the sex for like literally a second. I mean, I don't think anybody got a chance to reach the finish line, as it were, before the guards come upon the carriage and drag him back to prison. And he is understandably upset because Shanna reneged on her part of the deal. And she feels kind of guilty because she reneged on her part of the deal, and by this time she kind of wanted it to happen. And like, it did happen. He took her virginity, even though neither of them reached the finish line, as it were. So he gets dragged back to prison, vowing vengeance on her, understandably. And her father has this dude who meets up with her, and I think he kind of wants her. Ralston, I think Ralston kind of, if I remember correctly, he kind of likes her. And was he going to be that the guy that the father was going to make her marry? I don't know. I don't remember. But he goes to the prison because he needs to buy sort of servants. He needs to buy servants. He needs to buy slaves, for lack of a better word. And he ends up saving Rourke from being hanged in the morning by deciding that he's going to buy him to take him to work on something. Rourke is going to be like this servant / slave worker, along with a bunch of other slave worker people. I'm very much looking forward to when these two meet up again, because Pitney, her kind of chaperone guard guy dude, told her, because Ralston told him that Rourke was dead. So Pitney told Shanna that Rourke is dead. That he, that they hung him early or something. And she's very upset about this because she was starting to have happy pants for Rourke. So I am very looking forward to when these two meet up again, because she thinks he's dead. So she thinks that she's, now a widow who can sort of do whatever she wants, because we all know widows have more freedom than married women. So, and there's some, this is beyond a doubt, this is crazy sauce. This book is absolute crazy sauce, but I can see why Kathleen E Woodiwiss had such a following, because her writing style is so crackalicious. I mean, her writing style just draws you in. I love her writing style so much. It's so lush and just flowery, but not obnoxiously flowery. Like, I can't explain it. It just immediately, like, it's delicious, her writing style. So I am so much looking forward to more of this. I am 90 pages in, and it was so nice. This was the one that I actually got to go to the park and sit and read some of, and it was so enjoyable. So definitely looking forward to reading more of this one. And my classic that I am reading is F. Scott Fitzgerald's This Side of Paradise. And let me just say, I am already enjoying it miles above Hemingway. I think I like Fitzgerald better than Hemingway because Hemingway just doesn't work for me because, and this is sort of what he's famous for, his writing style is very sort of blunt and to the point, and things are just sort of happening with no sort of connections really explained or made. That's been my experience with Hemingway. It's sort of just like a bunch of things that are happening with, like, you don't get sort of explanations of who is this person and who is this person to this person and why does this person feel this way about this person. And and with Fitzgerald, it's an actual sort of narrative. Like, Amory, he's not the nicest person. He's a bit sort of obsessed with status, and it's set in the 1900s, 1920s, the sort of jazz age. That's starting to happen. And he's just sort of, it's sort of coming of age of his. Like, we follow him from like when he's like a young teenager to he's now in university, and he has this like obsession with being a man of status, but he doesn't seem to want to work to achieve that status. He just sort of wants to be among those who believe that that status is their right, their sort of birthright, without having to work for it. So he's not the most likable of characters, but I'm liking the story and sort of his journey a lot. Like, yeah, I'm really sort of enjoying this one, and I am about 50 pages in, and yeah, I'm liking it very, very much. So yeah, I think Fitzgerald over Hemingway. I like Fitzgerald better. So I worked on my first Stranger Things fan video. So by the time this goes up, that should already be up on my reaction channel, and the link to that will be in the description. So that was fun. I've narrowed down the covers for Wanted to 2 different pictures. So we're just kind of deciding between those two. And hopefully by the time this goes up, we'll have done I'll have chosen and we'll have done a cover reveal. So today is, or tomorrow is going to be sort of a stay-at-home day, because on Friday I'm going to my sister's, so I'll sort of be out all day. But yeah, I think tomorrow will sort of be my kind of like stay-at-home day, and I will be working on my reaction for Outlander season 6 episode 5 for editing that for YouTube, because the Patreon version of that is already up, and so I'll be working on the YouTube version for that. So for today, I think I'm having for lunch, I'll be doing pork chops and I think fries. Yeah, so that's the plan for the rest of the day. Yeah, and looking forward to going to my sister's on Friday. And I think she's going to be making milu, which is a kind of like polenta. It's the closest thing. And I might video. I might film some of that. And yeah, because I don't remember if, because she's made it before, but I don't remember if I've filmed it. I don't think I did. But yeah, that might be fun. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. And yeah, going to be doing some reading, some editing. I'm going to be putting up the first chapter of Wanted as a preview on my website, and the link to that is going to be in the description. And yeah, because we're nearing sort of the release for that. Just got to figure out the cover, and yep, before the end of the month, Wanted should be up on Amazon. Yeah, so I think that's going to be it for this video. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/authorejamie. Like my Facebook page at facebook.com/authorejamie. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.